Dear friend, have you ever sensed a slight hesitation in someone's eyes when you get close? Or noticed your beloved grandchildren pausing before giving you the warm embrace they once rushed to share? It could be a sign of a hidden struggle, a challenge faced by millions of seniors, yet rarely spoken of openly. I am Dr. Henry Thompson, a geriatric specialist with over 40 years of dedicated experience. Today, I'm here not to judge, but to gently pull back the curtain on a truth concerning age-related body odor. A truth that could help you regain confidence and warmth in your social connections. Please journey with me to the end, my friend, because in the final part, I will share a simple doctor-approved method to gently diminish that characteristic scent of aging, requiring just a few minutes of practice each day. This method can bring you closer to your loved ones, dissolving awkward moments and unnecessary sadness. Now let's begin our story. Last week, I had the pleasure of speaking with Mr. Frank Wilson, an 88-year-old gentleman, still sharp-witted with a twinkle in his eye. During our conversation, he smiled slightly, a hint of embarrassment in his eyes. "Dr. Henry," he said, "I use the most expensive cologne money can buy, yet my son still won't linger in my room for more than a minute." His frustration was palpable. To illustrate, he slowly walked to the window, dramatically throwing it open, letting the cool breeze sweep through the room as if to banish some invisible scent. Watching him stand there, gazing out with a mix of sadness and helplessness, my heart went out to him. I knew I needed to be candid yet gentle. "Mr. Wilson," I began softly, "to be perfectly honest, that fancy cologne isn't solving the problem. In fact, it might be making things worse." He looked at me puzzled. I elaborated. "Layering cologne doesn't eliminate the root cause of the scent. It only masks it temporarily, like spraying air freshener in a bathroom that hasn't been properly cleaned. The underlying natural body scent remains, and when it mixes with artificial fragrance, the combination can sometimes become even more unpleasant." Mr. Wilson nodded slowly, absorbing my words. I continued, "This is a mistake I often see among older adults. When they notice an unusual body scent, their first instinct is to douse themselves in deodorant or perfume, thinking that will fix it. But it's a flawed approach. Instead of neutralizing the odor, it creates a clashing, intensified aroma. The characteristic scent of aging mixed with artificial fragrance, making others even more uncomfortable. And what happens next? More windows get opened, and the embarrassment deepens. To break this frustrating cycle, I emphasized, we need to understand the real source of what's often called the old person smell. Simply putting a Band-Aid solution on it isn't enough. We need to understand what's happening physiologically. "Mr. Wilson," I asked gently, "are you aware there's actual science behind this phenomenon? It's not just about age or skipping a shower. It stems from natural physiological changes our bodies undergo over time." He leaned forward, intrigued, and I began to share the details, hoping to shed light on a topic too often dismissed or misunderstood. As we age, our bodies experience three significant shifts that contribute to this characteristic scent. Changes in perspiration. When we're young, we sweat about 1 liter a day, helping flush out toxins and cool the skin. But after age 60, this amount decreases by more than half. You might think less sweat, less smell, right? But it's the opposite. Sweat is the body's natural detoxification system. When we sweat less, toxins and waste products tend to linger on the skin, creating an environment where bacteria and microorganisms thrive. Their breakdown processes are what actually produce unpleasant odors. Mrs. Nancy Clark, 71, once confided in me, "Doctor, I barely sweat anymore. Why do I still have a smell?" I explained that it's precisely because she sweats less that the issue persists. The trapped toxins are the culprits. Changes in sebum composition. Sebum is the natural oil that keeps our skin supple. As we age, its composition changes subtly but significantly. After years of research, I identified a compound called unknowingly as a key player. This oxidized fatty acid starts appearing in sebum around age 50 and peaks by age 70, while being virtually absent in younger individuals. It's unknowingly that's responsible for the distinct scent often described as the old person smell, a somewhat sharp, greasy odor that's hard to ignore. The chemical makeup of youthful sebum is simply different, lacking this potent compound. Changes in the oral environment. After age 60, saliva production drops dramatically, by more than 50%. This has a bigger impact than most realize. Saliva not only aids digestion but also balances the mouth's pH and washes away odor-causing bacteria. When saliva decreases, the mouth becomes dry, bacteria flourish, and the result is stale, unpleasant breath. Mrs. Linda Harris, 69, shared, "When I talk, I can smell it myself and my mouth feels like a desert. I'm so self-conscious I even avoid getting close to my grandchildren." Her story isn't rare. Despite regular bathing, perfume, and mouthwash, the odor can persist because of these internal changes. So why don't colognes or quick fixes work? Because they don't address these three root causes. But the good news is, there is a solution, and it's simpler than you might think. You're just missing the crucial pieces of the puzzle. Now let's move on to the solutions. If you stop here, you might waste time and money on ineffective remedies. Trust me, I've seen it happen many times. But stay with me, and I'll share a method that works, backed by observable results in as little as a week. These are straightforward, practical steps to banish that unwanted odor for good. Follow through consistently, and within a month, your family's perception could transform entirely. Patients often ask me, "Dr. Henry, can this smell really be eliminated?" My answer is always, yes, but only if you do it correctly, using approaches you probably haven't been shown before. Take Mr. James Parker, 75. When he first visited my clinic, he stared at the floor, muttering, "My grandkids won't even come into my room anymore. My son keeps opening the windows." But after 6 months of following my guidance, he returned, beaming. "Now my grandkids climb onto my lap again, doctor," he exclaimed, his voice filled with joy. That kind of positive change is within your reach too, without expensive gadgets or complicated prescriptions. This method, honed over 50 years of medical research, allows you to start right at home. In my clinical practice, 97% of patients saw clear improvements. Ready for the first step? It's surprisingly simple. Drink plenty of warm water. Yes, water. Don't underestimate its power. People often ask, what good will drinking water do? Well, water helps your body flush out toxins through urine, reducing the burden on your skin to eliminate waste. Make it a habit to sip a glass of warm water first thing in the morning to kickstart your system. Mrs. Margaret Adams, 72, shared, "I struggled with the morning water habit at first, but after a month I got used to it. Now I feel like something's missing if I skip it. My grandkids say I smell nice, and my skin looks clearer too. Aim for about 6 glasses daily. 1 upon waking, 1 before lunch, 1 after, 1 mid-afternoon, 1 before dinner, and 1 before bed. Establish a rhythm and it will feel natural. Note that tea and coffee don't count. Coffee can dehydrate you, so if you indulge, be sure to drink extra water." The second step is taking short walks in the sunlight. I often hear, "Doctor, I'm too old for exercise." Relax, I'm not suggesting a marathon. Just a gentle 20-minute stroll in the sunlight can work wonders. The sun's UV rays help kill odor-causing bacteria on the skin, and light movement encourages just enough perspiration to release toxins. Try to walk before 10 a.m. or after 4 p.m. to avoid the harshest rays. You'll feel the difference. Mr. Fred Taylor remarked, "My legs hurt at first. The doctor suggested walking 10 minutes daily, but I couldn't manage it. Now I do it though slowly. Just getting a little out of breath is enough." Stick with these basics, and you'll be well on your way to feeling fresher and more confident. The third guideline involves taking a warm shower daily. People often complain, "It's cold in winter, showering every day is tough." However, bathing is essential to remove accumulated bacteria and pollutants. A crucial piece of advice: avoid using overly hot water. Hot water damages the skin's protective barrier and can actually intensify body odor. The ideal temperature is warm, around 100 degrees Fahrenheit, approximately 38 degrees Celsius. Additionally, once a week, try soaking in a warm bath around 100 degrees Fahrenheit, 38 degrees Celsius, for 20 minutes. This helps to release deep-seated dirt from the pores. Most of my patients report softer skin and a significant reduction in odor after incorporating this weekly soak. Consistently following these 3 guidelines, drinking warm water, walking in gentle sunlight, and showering daily with warm water, will significantly lessen the characteristic scent of aging. However, the most important tip is to properly clean 3 key areas during your shower. These spots account for 90% of body odor, but are often overlooked. Skin folds. Pay attention to cleaning the neck, armpits under the breasts in women, navel, groin area behind the knees and inside the elbows. Sweat tends to collect in these creases, creating a breeding ground for bacteria. Seniors often neglect these areas or wash them too gently, especially behind the ears and the back of the neck, prime spots for odor development. Mrs. Susan Brooks, 66, was amazed. I've showered my whole life but never properly cleaned my chest and armpits like the doctor showed me. Now my grandchildren hug me without hesitation, and the smell is almost gone. How to clean? Use a loofah or soft washcloth with mild fragrance-free soap. Cleanse these folds gently. Avoid vigorous rubbing which can damage the skin. Scalp and other hairy areas, chest/abdomen in men hair trap sweat and sebum, especially on the scalp, which is often missed during shampooing. Massage your scalp thoroughly while washing your hair. Mr. Tom Harris, 62, shared, "The odor from my head significantly decreased when I started massaging my scalp as the doctor suggested. My grandkids even pat my head now." Men with chest or abdominal hair should also lather and cleanse these areas well. High sweat zones. Palms, between the toes, and the feet have numerous sweat glands and can be sources of odor. Feet, especially when confined in shoes all day, become breeding grounds for bacteria. Odor from the feet can then transfer to clothing. Mr. John Miller, 68, related, "Oh, my feet used to smell terribly. But since I started washing carefully between my toes, drying them well before putting on socks, the smell disappeared. My daughter-in-law doesn't make a face when she enters my room anymore." Foot care. Wear cotton socks and change them daily. Wash feet, including between the toes, thoroughly and dry completely before putting on socks. Rotate your shoes to allow them to air out. You can sprinkle a little baking soda inside shoes to absorb odors. Cleaning the back. The back can be hard to reach but needs thorough cleaning as back sweat can soak into clothes and cause odor. Use a long-handled brush or cloth. Remember, always use warm, not hot, water when cleaning these 3 key areas. Avoid strongly scented soaps. Choose gentle, fragrance-free options instead. Mrs. Mary Johnson, 71, initially doubtful, said, "I didn't think such simple things could work, but I tried and it was like magic. My grandson now snuggles on my lap for TV time again." Don't forget to moisturize after showering, especially in winter, as dry skin can flake and contribute to odor. Proper hygiene is fundamental, but diet and lifestyle play equally important roles in managing body odor. Boost antioxidant intake. Oxidation, like rust on metal, breaks down cells and releases odor-causing compounds. Antioxidants combat this. Eat plenty of antioxidant-rich foods like tomatoes, lycopene, apples, quercetin, strawberries, vitamin C, buckwheat, flavonoids, and brown rice. Red and purple produce, grapes, blueberries, eggplant, are particularly potent due to anthocyanins. Mr. Paul King, 79, shared, "My doctor told me to eat a tomato and an apple daily. After 2 months, my granddaughter hugged me and said, 'Grandpa, it's like magic, you don't smell bad anymore.' Garlic, despite its initial strong scent, contains allicin after being crushed, which acts as an antioxidant and antibacterial agent, fighting odor from within. Eat hydrating foods. Foods with high water content like tomatoes, pears, watermelon, and cucumber act as an internal flush, helping expel toxins via urine instead of sweat. Mrs. Nancy Miller, 68, shared, "I started eating half a cucumber and a tomato daily. After 3 months, friends remarked I didn't have that old smell anymore. If eating raw veggies is difficult, blend them into a smoothie." Thorough oral hygiene. Brushing 3 times daily is good but not enough. The tongue harbors odor-causing bacteria. Use a tongue scraper daily. Chewing sugar-free gum, especially with xylitol, for 10 minutes after meals stimulates saliva, washing away debris and bacteria. Reduce alcohol and caffeine. These dehydrate the body, worsening odor. Alcohol metabolizes into acetaldehyde, which has an unpleasant smell released through sweat and breath. Mr. George Carter, 71, found switching from whiskey to barley tea significantly reduced his body odor. Limit coffee/tea to 1 to 2 cups daily and drink extra water. Increase fiber intake. Slow digestion allows toxins to be reabsorbed and released through the skin. A fiber-rich diet, brown rice, oats, whole grains, apples, prunes, promotes regular bowel movements. Mrs. Margaret Evans, 77, found that eating brown rice porridge improved her digestion and softened her body odor. Clean clothes and living environment. Dirty clothes and bedding harbor bacteria. Change clothes daily, preferring breathable cotton. Wash laundry regularly and sun-dry when possible. Change bed linens weekly, pillowcases more often. Rotate shoes. Ventilate your home daily and use baking soda to absorb odors in damp areas. In summary, the scent of aging stems from a mix of factors: oxidized sebum, unknowingly, reduced saliva and sweat, diet, improper hygiene, dehydration, and environment. But you can manage it with practical habits. Drink enough warm water, at least 6 glasses/day. Take gentle walks in sunlight, 20 minutes per day. Shower daily with warm water, focusing on the 3 key areas: folds, hairy areas, sweaty zones. Take a weekly warm bath soak. Eat antioxidant-rich, hydrating, high-fiber foods. Practice thorough oral care. Limit alcohol and caffeine. Maintain clean clothes, bedding, and a ventilated home. These steps are simple, affordable, and require consistency. Beyond just eliminating odor, they enhance your vitality and confidence, strengthening bonds with loved ones, especially grandchildren. Mrs. Margaret Adams, 72, beamed. After 6 months of following my doctor's advice, my grandchild climbs onto my lap for TV time again, showering me with hugs and kisses. Thank you, Dr. Henry, for bringing this joy back. You can reclaim that delight too. Start today and let the freshness linger a little longer. That concludes our deep dive into managing age-related odor and reclaiming your confidence. I hope these tips have opened your eyes to simple, effective ways to enhance your life and relationships. What have you learned today? Please share in the comments below one thing you found insightful and plan to practice. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment, like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more meaningful advice. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next video.